Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another multiplayer tips and guide video for Uncharted 4 multiplayer. Now today we just do general tips for the entire multiplayer when you're playing the game, as some people may be very new to the Uncharted multiplayer or how fast paced, action packed this multiplayer can be. Now this is for more the single player if you are playing with randoms. As the team, the general idea of course is to stick as a team and have varied team layouts and of course callouts, but that's the very simple stuff. If you're a player playing with another player or just by yourself, this is more a problem to you and helpful to you. Now to start, gun wise, the AK is always a solid choice. There may be guns that are better at the long range or the close range, but as there's an overall gun, I believe the AK is the best to begin with and start using. Of course you will at the start, but once you're unlocking guns, I would stick to it until you feel comfortable with the whole mechanics and idea of the game. Now firstly with this gun and overall guns, at the medium to close range I would always focus on the stomach aspect and not try and get those headshots, as it's very inconsistent, especially if the enemy team is shooting you also, then that means they can stack your bullets and you will miss a few. However, after this, I would definitely suggest at the longer ranges engagements to definitely stagger your bullets. With RT being the default shooting on or whatever you have changed it to, slowly tapping that trigger at longer range engagements and slowly moving your right stick analog down just to give you a bit more of adjustment and more accuracy when shooting your enemy targets. This is the best way I found, and for those long engagements, as definitely those long engagements from the beta it seems that everyone has a teeny bit more health now, that it definitely is harder to down them at that range, but to just scare them off and can get control of the map. A few other points is use your mobility to some degree, especially at the close ranges. Getting into cover and hip firing overall has definitely been improved since the betas. The betas, it was pretty much useless. Melee itself from previous Uncharted games is still pretty useless. It's a 3-hit melee down, but at that time they're able to move so much more around you to kill you. However, blind fire has definitely got a buff from the betas themselves. Now blind fire itself is best used in cover. They come to you always being in cover and then shooting them down around the place. You still have to aim at them and it still can be very inconsistent as the bullets are random, but they're definitely a lot more pinpointed than in the betas. I would definitely use that. Close range, of course it depends on gun you use. The AK isn't the best, as the MP43 and the XCR are definitely the better ones to use at close range because that's what their strengths are. I would always move around, always be mobile, never stick in one cover at a time. If you're again with randoms, always see what your enemy team is and try and stick with them or trying to flank the enemy team. If you know your team and the enemy team are doing engagement on the same side of the map, and if you are well knowledged in that map, you can think you can maybe find a quick route to your team, always find a quick flank route, but never go head in, especially if you're on a 2-on-1 fight. They can kill you within seconds and there is no point doing that. Always know that always shooting the enemy is not always the best confrontation, and trying to run away or throwing a grenade or something to distract your enemy team is the best. Now onto this point, mystical wise, if you just want to get the kills, I think El Dorado is always a strong choice, even though I definitely feel like it's been weakened since the beta. Another suggestion is a Terminator Stone, as if you aren't the best player and you always want to help out, that or the staff is great, as the staff gives a nice little radar out and you get a lot of them, which helps you unlock the rest of the mysticals. Saying that Terminator Stone's always great, it's a bit cheaper than the El Dorado itself, and it gives you a lot of revives in that time and general health if you can be a team player. Of course with this psychic wise, medics as well, if you always feel like you aren't the best player but you can also be a support player, which I think is actually quite handy and feels quite satisfying in this game, being able to throw those medics down and being able to revive teammates in the heat of battle has always been a great feeling. But overall, if you are pretty much sucking at the game at the start, it's always keeping it basic and keeping it cautious. Knowing what you're good at and what playstyle you enjoy and you are good at is what you should stick to and slowly grow out of that. Learn different skills, see what the enemy killed. Don't think he just annoying and he cheated, quote unquote, with lag. Then look at the enemy and see what he did better than you. Did he outmaneuver you? Did he know where you were and just simply outplay you? And understand what that, and that's how you become a better player, and that's how I became a better player in Uncharted and multiplayer games overall, is understanding that. Also another thing is mines are extremely annoying in this game, so using explosive awareness, even though it's not as good as it says it is, can help massively once you start upgrading it. And overall the general leveling up system within the loadouts tree is pretty complicated and annoying. But to simplify it, the more you use a weapon, the more you unlock stats and perks for that weapon, mystical gear, boosters, and so on. So the idea is if you use Helping Hand, you get some amount of vibes, you unlock Helping Hand 2, etc, etc. For every single mystical gun, it's very lengthy. Also with hero weapons, if you get a certain amount of kills, instead of the AK, you will start unlocking hero weapons as you need a lot of kills for it. But my main idea for this is once you get a hero weapon unlocked, so just focusing on the AK and getting those 350 kills, I believe it is, to get the first hero weapon, you can start unlocking those hero weapons for 400 relics. That may seem a lot, but again, if you do the daily challenges and the trials at the start, these give you a lot of relics, and that means you can definitely get a lot more hero weapons, as if you have the loadout points, they definitely are correct. Also, the maximum loadout points, I've had a few people ask, is 25 once you unlock all the skill trees for each, the long gun, sidearms, mysticals, etc. That's how much you get. Anyway, this is just a little tips and tricks video. I may go really in depth on how to roll, how to revive teammates, the general knowledge of the maps, but I believe I'll keep it very simple on the game modes for now and see if people like this and there's a demand for this, because I'm sure I'm more than to go in depth, but I like just to give a general overview of this. So the idea is just to keep moving, understand you, stick with your team, understand what you're good at, not good at. Always support is always satisfying if you aren't the best at the game, and learning how the teammates or your enemy teammates are killing you, and then you can see how to improve your overall self. Anyway guys, that's it for today's episode, and I will see you next time.